My name is Vineet. Today we'll be having an overview on subnetting in computer networks. You might be wondering, like, we have so many computers and so many workstations that are connected to the internet. How do we uniquely identify those connections? We'll be having an overview on the subnetting part, and we'll see like how does this thing help us to reduce the network congestion and fasten up the search process. So we'll start off with logical addressing. So the network layer adds a header that includes logical addresses of the sender and the receiver to the packet coming from the transport layer. So why do we use logical addressing is because we need to uniquely identify the sender and also the receiver, and there's a possibility like they can be in totally two different networks. So it might be network 1, it might be network 2. So we need to send a packet of information from the sender to the receiver via the internet. That's why we make use of logical addressing, so that these two things can be uniquely identified using some set of rules. So we'll now discuss like what are the shortcomings of the classful addressing, right? So what happens is, let's take the same example. If I take class A, then that consists of 8 bits for the network and 24 bits for the host. So if someone takes up a class A addressing, then he can have a particular address, network address, corresponding to which he can have 2 power 24 different versions of this thing, right? But let's suppose the host requirements of the company is only 1000 workstations, that will just need 2 power 10. So the remaining 2 power 14 addresses get switched. So how do we count for this? So for this, we make use of something known as subnetting. So now we'll discuss about subnetting. Subnetting is basically nothing but when we have a big network and we try to segment it out into multiple smaller networks, let's say into 4 equal parts. Now you might be thinking like, what's the use of subnetting? So let's take up a small example. Subnetting actually results in reduces the network congestion. And how do we do that? So let's understand with the help of an example. Our ultimate aim is, let's suppose I need to locate a particular PC with the help of a logical address. Definitely I won't be searching in the entire 2 power 32 address space. So I need to logically segment this address space in such a way so that my search becomes narrower. Let's take an example. I need to search for Delhi as a state. Now what will I do is, there is one way I can compare all of these 2 power 32 with Delhi. And you can understand that this is a very big number. It will take exponential time. How do we move forward with this? First of all, we'll try to identify which continent does Delhi lie in, and the answer is Asia. So when we try to look at a bigger perspective, we just have 7 options because we have 7 continents, and out of that I choose 1. So ultimately I am eliminated 6 on 7, which is almost 90%. Now after taking up Asia, now I'll ask like which country does this thing lie? Now there are many countries in Asia. Once we take up India, that means we have eliminated a lot of other countries. Now after this we can directly search on to which state do we want, and when we say Delhi, so ultimately we will be taking up Delhi. So we have crossed out 28 remaining states. And after that, let's suppose you want to go to some street like Ghaziabad and some locality, and then your sector number, and then ultimately your house number. That's exactly how you can go. But if I directly compare all of the house numbers in the entire world, it will take us exponential amount of time. Our ultimate thing is the number of requests made to the server should be lessened up. That is, we need to reduce the network congestion. That is where we try to use the concept of subnetting. So subnetting is of 2 types. One is FLSM and the other one is VLSM. FLSM stands for fixed length subnet mask, and this stands for variable length subnet mask. So as the name suggests, fixed length subnet mask, that means the number of hosts will be equally partitioned. So let's suppose overall we have 128, and if we divide into 4 parts, it will become 32, 32, 32 and 32. So these numbers are fixed. It's of equal size, hence called fixed length subnetting mask. And the other one is called variable length subnetting mask, in which these things can be made variable. And this is something which will try to save up the number of nodes in a network, because let's suppose we have a requirement of 31, then we can exactly keep up 31. But VLSM is actually a bit hard to implement, and it's complex to maintain the network orientation. So that's why we generally go for FLSM. Now we'll understand how do we apply FLSM and how do we exactly make these partitions with the help of a detailed example. Now we'll take an example of how do we implement FLSM mathematically. Okay. So let's take class C for example. So if I take class C, so class C, we all know that it's represented by /24, in which 24 denotes the number of bits we take for the network part and the remaining 8 bits for the host part, right? So the default subnet mask, so default subnet mask is nothing but 255.255.255.0, 8 into 324 and the remaining 8. Now now let's suppose I want to change this into /26 configuration. Now it won't be the same as this, so everything will change, right? So the default subnet mask will now become 255.255.255.192. Why 192? Because we are borrowing 2 bits from the host to be included in the network part, right? So we are trying to like till here the address is going to be same, the network part. So let's suppose if I take 192.168.1.x, so this part is going to be the same, and from this 8 bits I have actually borrowed 2 bits, and these 2 bits are going to create the sub networks, right? So for an external network, if I use network address translation, this will be the main address that will be searched, like we took an example, right? So this address will be searched 192.168.1, and once I come on to this address, once I reach this address, I have now, let's suppose, y number of options to search for those number of subnets. Now how do I decide the number of subnets? So the number of subnets that is possible, let's say in the y, equals to number of subnets possible, will be 2 power the number of bits borrowed. So the number of bits that I borrowed is simply 2 bits, because for getting /26 I have to take out 2 bits from 8, right? So that means I'll be having 2 power 2, that is 4 number of subnets are possible. So hence here I'll take 4, so I'll have 4 number of subnets, and based on that thing I can again choose one of these 4. Now when I take 1, then I'm going to eliminate 3. So like this the search time becomes very less. So for /26 in class C, we have calculated the subnet mask to be this thing, and the number of bits borrowed is 2, because initially the class C is 24 and we have 8 bits for the host, so we borrow 2 bits here. Number of subnets that's possible is 4, so the network will be split into 4 parts, each of having equal number of hosts, and the number of hosts per subnet is, now since we are having 6 bits, so that will be 2 power 6, which is nothing but 64. So the earlier thing was simple. So earlier we were having 2 power 8. Now we are having 2 power 6. So definitely we have like halved it, right, into 4 parts. So the next thing is we will try to find out like what are the IP addresses of each of the 4 parts. So if I find the IP address of part 1 or subnet 1, so I'll say that it is going to be 192.168.1. So that original network part is going to be the same, and then it will start with 0. And if I say that the IP address of subnet 2 will be 192.168.1 dot, you can guess it's going to be 64. For the third part it is going to be 128. And for the fourth part it is going to be 192. We simply added, this is also known as the block size, so we simply added 64, and that's how we get these things. So the IP address of the first subnetwork will be 192.168.1.0, and for the second subnet it is going to be, we'll just add the block size, which is number of subnets, number of hosts in a subnetwork, which is 2 power 6, that is 64. So it is going to be 192.168.1.64, and then 192.168.128, and then 192 192.168.1.192. Simple. Now we all know, like, how do we calculate the gateway address? So the gateway address is going to be the first address, right? Or the network address, it's going to be the first address of this thing. So the first address is going to be 192.168.1.1. For the same thing, here also we'll use 192.168.1.65. 192.168.1.129. 192.168.1.193. Now, what exactly do we mean by gateway addresses? If I address a message to this particular location, 192.168.1.1, this will imply that this message is being targeted towards this entire thing. So that is going to be the gateway address. So through this address only, you will be able to address the remaining addresses of the host. And let's suppose you want to target all of this, you want to broadcast a message to all of these networks, then you utilize the broadcast address, which is nothing but it is going to be the last address. And if I know that for the second IP address I'm using 64, then the last address is going to be this network dot 63. Here dot 127, same thing dot 127. Here it is 192, so the same thing dot 191. And for this thing, the last, we know the range is always from 0 to 255, as we discussed earlier. It is going to be 192.168.1.255. Now we can see that earlier, so the simple analogy that I would like to give for this thing is like earlier we basically had this entire thing as this thing. Now because we have created a subnetwork, we have logically divided our network in such a way as to reduce the network congestion, because the incoming packet can be traced out to one of these, and once I choose one of these options, the remaining three options gets cancelled, and that's how I reduce network congestion. Thank you.